Next up, we've got Meritful, presenting our Azarias Ruda, Lander Corona. Hold on, I'm going to get this right. All right. Lander Coronado Garcia.
Got it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Azarias, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Meritful. I'm here with my co-founder, Lander. And Meritful is a student relationship management platform, or what we call an SRM, and it's designed to help companies hire the best students out of universities. You've probably been to a college recruiting fair. It's a lot like speed dating. The good candidates always have a lot of good options. And college recruiting at large is getting increasingly competitive. When I was a PhD student in computer science, we used to get recruiting email almost on a daily basis. And that makes a lot of sense. Young and talented students bring a lot of energy and hard work to a company, and they cost a lot less. So if you do a good job hiring great students, it goes straight to the bottom line. And that's why college recruiting has been growing about 15% a year, and big companies are spending a lot of money on campus. So, if talent is the most important asset to a growing company, and if hiring new grads is a smart move, how can a startup or a medium-sized company compete effectively with the big guys on campus? In the next 4 minutes, we're going to show you how to do that with Meritful. Let me start with a story. This is my friend Timur. He went to grad school with me, and he now works for a company called Maginatics out in Mountain View. And the path he took to accepting an offer there was quite interesting. When Timur was looking for a job, he had multiple options on the table. He had interned at Microsoft and had multiple offers on the table from companies you have definitely heard of. But he took the offer from a fairly unknown company with just 15 employees. And the difference? He had known a couple of the people there and had built a relationship with them, and they convinced him to come over there. So just like in traditional recruiting, relationships are the key to hiring great students. But one of the key lessons I learned when I used to work at LinkedIn was traditional recruiting services don't work well for college recruiting. And the reason is you can't rely on networking and referrals because students usually are not well connected and are new to the workforce. But college recruiting has a couple of unique features. First, schools provide several avenues to meet lots of students at once, from career fairs to information sessions, etc. And second, once you meet students, they're going to be in the pipeline for a number of years before they take a job. And here is where Meritful comes to the picture. We built Meritful to help companies make the most out of this long cycle by creating a relationship with students. So Meritful is a platform as a service for college recruiting teams to build and manage their relationship with students over multiple years. It's designed to connect talented students with professionals and alumni at the company in simple and one-to-many ways, essentially leading up to the Timur story that I talked about. So let me show you just a few ways that a company can use Meritful, and let's use Dunder Mifflin, our favorite paper company, as an example. When Dunder Mifflin signs up for Meritful, it gets a private company portal and invites a few of its employees to join as company ambassadors. These ambassadors could be recruiters, managers, and often alumni of schools that the company is targeting for recruiting. So in this case, let's say Penn and Cornell, where some of the employees are from. Now, when Toby goes to Penn to recruit students, he's going to meet hundreds of them at the career fair, plus some more at the information session that he's going to hold. And some of these students are going to be promising. So he sends them a private invitation to connect with Dunder Mifflin via Meritful. Now that we have a few students, let me show you just a couple of the ways these students can interact with professionals at the company. First, companies can create challenges for students to work on. This could be programming, design, business challenges, and students can submit solutions and interact with professionals at the company while at it. This is great because it allows companies to identify great candidates and it allows students to showcase themselves. On the other hand, students can showcase projects that they're working on and potentially get feedback from professionals. These projects could be in class or outside of class, and students can use source code, pictures, video to describe them. So for young students, this is a great way to get feedback and thoughts from experts, and for companies, it's a great way to learn about students. So over time, Toby can keep track of these students and get insights about their progress and development. And if he decides the student is a good fit for the company, he can leverage the relationships created via Meritful to recruit them. And these are just a couple of the ways that companies can use Meritful to build a sustainable relationship with students that's directly tied to their recruiting efforts. This goes far beyond than the one-time interaction that happens when a college recruiter visits a campus. So Meritful is built for companies that want to build the best team possible and have a long-term vision for their college recruiting efforts. We launched Meritful private beta about 2 months ago with some great companies, ranging from a startup like Twilio to a multi-billion-dollar company like Cengage, and we have been getting great feedback and improving Meritful. And today, we're very happy to launch our public beta at TechCrunch Disrupt. Meritful is always free for students and is available at a monthly subscription to companies. So we invite you to check out Meritful and the pricing on meritful.com. And as a company, we're very excited about this space, not only because we love education and education startups, but also because there's nothing more important to a growing company than talent, and we help companies hire talented students. So if you're a growing company, we invite you to check out Meritful. If you want to hire the best students, you need to build a relationship with them, and we have built just the platform for you. Thank you so much.
Isn't this a massive amount of work for both the company and the student?
So it usually starts early on, and one of the key design principles is to make this very lightweight and one-to-many, so that both students and companies can keep up with it over the number of years that's required to hire great students.
What do you mean by one-to-many?
So for example, you consider a challenge where a company puts up a challenge and can invite hundreds of students or dozens of students to work on it, basically leveraging the little time that a professional can put into it and allowing them to vet a lot of students at the same time.
This is a real problem. We saw this in New York, and this is one of the things that Hack NY addresses in a very different way. But one of the things we noticed there is that startups can't compete with big companies because they can't recruit in September for an internship in June, much less know years in advance what they're going to want to recruit. So really, is this geared towards small companies or towards companies that already plan to be around 3 years from now and can project out that far what they're going to hire?
Yeah, for the most part, our focus client is a company that knows that it's going to need talent. They might not know exactly when, but they know that they're going to have some college recruiting needs. So we're looking at companies that are, regularly attending career fairs because they need that constant pipeline of talent. And like you said, some very smaller startups can't necessarily always know exactly what they're going to need. But building the relationships with a group of students allows them to create a pool of talent to pick from down the line. So it also helps alleviate that problem.
Aren't the best students the ones who need this the least? And thus, you end up with an adverse selection problem?
So what usually happens is, especially early on, when sophomore year, junior year, when a student is just developing, what Meritful allows them is to essentially jump over the recruiting wall, where they're getting to talk with the professionals and experts. And what we think is, for this set of students, this is appealing enough to build a relationship with the company, which will later on turn into a job.
So at Square, one of the most important things for us from an engineering recruiting standpoint was actually summer internships, because not only did the student get a chance to vet Square and see if it's someplace they thought they'd be happy, but we could also vet the student. Is there any notion of using this tool specifically for internships, as those are increasingly important for long-term career growth?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, interns are one of the pools of students that we're looking at engaging with Meritful. But the fact is, there are a lot of great students, and you can't have all of them be interns. So if you can give employees a way to vet or communicate and build a relationship with those students without having to bring them in for internships before they graduate, you can kind of increase your pool rather than having, without having to go out and hire 1,000 interns.
Is the thinking that this ends as soon as the first job is in place, or are you now tracking this student as they go throughout their career? People are switching career jobs, much more frequently now than they ever have.
Right. So early on, and right now, we're really focused on bringing students out of the college ranks into the professional ranks. And we obviously have thought about what do we do after they become professionals, and we think there are a couple natural extensions to that. One of those is kind of tracking how long a student or a new employee stays at a company, tracking how well a company is doing and actually retaining their talent once they get it. And then also continuing relationships, even if a student does go to a different company, in case there's an opportunity down the line. So ongoing recruiting.
Have you thought about, assuming this works, what you could do with the data you would generate? Like what you could help people, both students and professionals, they become, and then the companies learn?
Yeah, so one of the underlying themes is sort of also generating a curated list of students that are being developed, which you can build a number of things up on top of, whether it's job matching and recommendation based on what companies want and what we observe students to have. So I think there are a number of things to be built once this starts to grow. Our initial thought was we want to build something that people can use right away, create value, but then as this goes on, it really allows itself to be expanded in a number of directions.
John, do you have any thoughts on this? Or?
So the job market, there's a spot market and there's a forward market. And the larger the firm, the more willing they're willing to play with the forward market. The intern market is much more of a spot market, so it's much more short term. Between those two markets, sort of intern, which then can bring in the smaller companies in New York and other tech centers, and the forward market, how do you sort of see the split between the two?
Yeah, so our goal is to create the best match between talent and companies, and where that sees the most value is for full-time hiring. So our target is really to allow companies in a variety of ways to reach the best talent and convince them that they're the company that students should go work for, as well as allow students to kind of vet the company from their end. Internships, if you will, are almost like a piece that goes along with what Meritful does. And we definitely think that companies will be using it for internships, but our goal is to really allow companies to hire the best full-time students out of school.
Okay.
That was Meritful. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.